And he was known as the Merchant of Venom. But Don Rickles' insults always left his victims laughing. Rickles died yesterday in Los Angeles.
Don Rickles is widely remembered as one of the most gifted and fearless comedians in entertainment history. His career stretched across an extraordinary 62 years, from 1955 all the way to 2017. And during that time, he built a reputation unlike almost anyone else in comedy. Rickles became especially famous for insult comedy, a style that could have destroyed a lesser performer, but in his hands became sharp, funny, and strangely affectionate. He was best known as a stand-up comedian, but his career also expanded into acting, writing, television appearances, and unforgettable moments with some of Hollywood's biggest names. Don Rickles was born on May 8, 1926, in Queens, New York, to his parents, Max and Etta Rickles.
I don't know how, but I have a knack of making fun of somebody and exaggerating without hurting them and doing it in such a way that they said, oh, that was great, you know.
After finishing high school, he enlisted in the United States Navy and served during World War II. He was honorably discharged in 1946, and like many young men returning from war, he had to figure out what kind of life he wanted to build next. At first, Rickles dreamed of becoming a serious dramatic actor. He studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and tried to break into the acting world with real determination. For a while, he managed to land small television parts, but the major roles never came. Over time, Rickles grew frustrated. He wanted success badly, but dramatic acting did not seem to open the doors he had hoped for. Eventually, he began to realize that his true strength might not be in serious roles at all. So he turned toward stand-up comedy, and that decision changed everything. Most comedians tried to ignore hecklers, hoping the interruption would pass. Don Rickles did the opposite. He fired back instantly. He mocked them, embarrassed them, and somehow made the entire room laugh while doing it. What could have sounded cruel from someone else became his signature. Audiences understood there was a strange warmth behind the insults, and before long, Rickles earned the reputation of being the king of insult comedy. At one point, he even had the nerve to roast Frank Sinatra, one of the most powerful entertainers in the world. That moment helped change his career. Sinatra enjoyed the boldness, and soon Rickles was being welcomed into circles most comedians could only dream of entering. Audiences across the country realized that Don Rickles had something rare. He was fast, fearless, and completely unpredictable. But behind the laughter, Rickles also faced deep personal tragedy. He lived long enough to become a comedy legend, but he also endured losses that no amount of fame could soften.
How much you weigh, big fella?
He hit them right between the eyes.
200 on the left side of your ass, you weigh 200.
An equal opportunity.
In 2017, Don Rickles passed away, leaving behind his wife of more than 5 decades, Barbara Rickles, completely heartbroken. More recently, Barbara also passed away, closing the final chapter of one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories. In today's video, we're going to look at the life and legacy of Don Rickles, the tragic deaths of both Don and Barbara, and the painful loss that tested their family in a way no one expected. Don and Barbara Rickles shared a love story that stood apart from the usual Hollywood pattern. Many celebrities became known for repeated marriages, public scandals, affairs, and bitter divorces. But Don was different. For him, loyalty mattered. He wanted a marriage that would last, and for many years, he searched for the right woman. By the time he was 38, Don still had not found the person he wanted to spend his life with. Then his agent introduced him to a beautiful woman named Barbara Sklar.
Is that your wife? Jesus Christ. I'll tell you this.
As they got to know each other, Don noticed something unusual. Barbara did not fully understand his sense of humor at first. For most comedians, that might have been discouraging. For Don, it was the moment he knew she was special. He later joked that this was when he realized he had fallen in love. The couple married on March 14, 1965, and remained together for 52 years until Don's death. Their marriage was long, loving, and steady, giving Don something solid behind the chaos of show business. Together, they had 2 children, Mindy and Larry, and family became one of the great anchors of Don's life. Their son, Larry Rickles, grew up to build a successful career of his own as a producer and screenwriter. He even won an Emmy Award for his work on the documentary about his father, Mr. Warmth, the Don Rickles Project. It was a proud moment for the entire family, especially because Larry had helped preserve the story of the man the world knew as a comedy giant. But on December 3rd, 2011, tragedy struck. Larry Rickles developed pneumonia and was hospitalized. Despite the efforts to save him, he passed away surrounded by his family and loved ones. Don, Barbara, and their daughter Mindy were devastated. Larry was only 41 years old, a talented man with a bright future still ahead of him. His death left a wound in the Rickles family that never fully disappeared. One of the most remarkable stories from Don Rickles' life involved a decision that may have saved him from an early death.
They called him Mr. Warmth and the Merchant of Venom.
During the 1970s, Rickles became acquainted with the infamous New York mobster Joe Gallo, better known to many as Crazy Joe Gallo. Gallo was a feared figure in organized crime, and most people were extremely careful about what they said around him. One wrong joke or insult could potentially have serious consequences. One evening, Gallo attended one of Don Rickles' comedy performances. Before taking the stage, Rickles received plenty of warnings. Friends and associates urged him not to make jokes about the mobster. They advised him to play it safe and avoid drawing attention to Gallo altogether.
And that's what I do. I laugh about people, no matter what the hell you are. Irish, Jewish, Italian, Negro, Puerto Rican. Well, Puerto Rican.
But Don Rickles had never built his career on playing it safe. Instead of avoiding the topic, he did exactly what audiences expected him to do. He roasted Joe Gallo relentlessly. Joke after joke, Rickles targeted the feared gangster in front of the entire crowd. Many people in the room likely held their breath, wondering how Gallo would react. To everyone's surprise, he loved it. Rather than becoming offended, Gallo appreciated Rickles' courage and sense of humor. The performance sparked an unlikely friendship between the comedian and the mobster. Over time, the two developed a mutual respect for one another, despite coming from completely different worlds. Not long afterward, Gallo invited Rickles to join him for dinner at Umberto's Clam House in New York City. Rickles politely declined the invitation. It seemed like an ordinary decision at the time, but it would later take on a chilling significance. That very night, gunfire erupted inside the restaurant. Joe Gallo was shot and killed in one of the most notorious mob-related murders of the era. Had Rickles accepted the invitation, he could have found himself sitting only feet away from the violence. It remains one of the closest brushes with tragedy in his entire life. As incredible as that story sounds, it was only one chapter in a life filled with unforgettable encounters.
I say it, nobody else has said it, and I say it from my heart. You're a lousy actor.
Despite building his reputation as comedy's ultimate insult artist, Don Rickles was known by friends as one of the warmest and most loyal people in Hollywood. Many assumed that a man whose career revolved around mocking others would struggle to maintain close friendships. The opposite turned out to be true. Behind the sharp tongue was a genuinely caring person who attracted people wherever he went. One of Rickles' closest friendships was with Frank Sinatra. The two met early in Rickles' career and remained friends for decades. Their relationship became one of the most famous celebrity friendships in entertainment history. Sinatra admired Rickles' fearlessness, while Rickles respected Sinatra's loyalty and support. Their bond became so strong that they even performed together during the inauguration festivities for President Ronald Reagan. Interestingly, Rickles had spent much of his life identifying as a Democrat, yet he still considered that performance one of the proudest moments of his career.
Many, many years ago, he gave me a break on a television show with this, not you. I'll let you know when, but it's good that you practice standing.
Sharing the stage with Sinatra on such a historic occasion remained a memory he treasured for the rest of his life. Another friendship that meant the world to Rickles was his relationship with fellow comedian Bob Newhart. Rickles often referred to Newhart as his best friend. The two spent countless hours together over the years, and their families became extremely close as well. Barbara Rickles and Newhart's wife formed a strong friendship of their own, creating a bond that extended far beyond the entertainment industry. What made Rickles unique was that his insults rarely created lasting enemies. The people around him understood that the jokes came from a place of affection rather than malice. His teasing often made people feel included rather than attacked. Somehow, he managed to turn insults into a strange form of endearment. Because of that, Rickles left a lasting impression on nearly everyone he met. After decades of success, friendship, and laughter, Don Rickles continued performing almost until the very end of his life. He never truly retired. Even in his later years, audiences still packed theaters to watch the legendary comedian work his magic. Then, on April 6, 2017, the entertainment world received heartbreaking news. Don Rickles passed away at his home in Beverly Hills due to kidney failure. He was 90 years old. Although he had lived a long and extraordinary life, the news shocked fans around the world. Tributes immediately began pouring in from fellow comedians, actors, television hosts, and longtime friends. Figures such as Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, and Jim Carrey publicly honored the comedy legend, sharing stories about his generosity, humor, and influence. For many people, Rickles represented an era of comedy that could never be duplicated. His fearless style, lightning-fast wit, and ability to make audiences laugh while keeping them guessing made him truly one of a kind. Yet perhaps no one felt the loss more deeply than Barbara Rickles. For 52 years, Barbara had been Don's partner, confidant, and greatest supporter. They had built a life together that survived the pressures of fame, the heartbreak of losing their son Larry, and countless challenges along the way. Don's death left an enormous void in her life. Still, Barbara showed remarkable strength. Surrounded by family and friends, she carried on for several years after losing her husband. Though the grief never fully disappeared, she continued honoring his memory and celebrating the life they had shared together. Then, on March 15, 2021, Barbara Rickles passed away, almost 4 years after losing the love of her life. With her passing, one of Hollywood's longest and most admired love stories finally came to an end. But the legacy that Don and Barbara built together continues to live on through their family, their friends, and the countless lives they touched over more than half a century together. With Barbara's passing, many people reflected not only on the remarkable career of Don Rickles, but also on the extraordinary bond that had defined so much of his life. While the public knew Don as the fearless comedian who could reduce an entire room to laughter with a single insult, those closest to him often said that his greatest role was not entertainer, but husband and father. Friends frequently spoke about the contrast between the man on stage and the man at home. Under the spotlight, Rickles was sharp, relentless, and unpredictable. Yet behind closed doors, he was known for his loyalty, kindness, and devotion to his family. Barbara often served as the steady force in his life, providing balance to a career that kept him traveling, performing, and constantly in the public eye. Their marriage endured through decades that tested countless Hollywood relationships. Together they witnessed the rise and fall of entertainment empires, changing trends in comedy, and the pressures that came with fame. Through it all, they remained committed to one another. While many celebrity couples became tabloid headlines for scandals and breakups, Don and Barbara quietly built something much rarer: a partnership that lasted more than half a century. The loss of their son, Larry, remained one of the deepest wounds they ever faced. Those close to the family said that while neither Don nor Barbara ever fully recovered from the tragedy, they leaned on each other for strength. Grief has a way of either pulling people apart or bringing them closer together. For the Rickles family, it seemed to reinforce the bond they had spent decades building. In the years following Larry's death, Don continued to perform and make public appearances, but many observers noticed a subtle change. While he never lost his sense of humor, there was a deeper appreciation for family, friendship, and the limited time everyone has. He understood better than most that success, awards, and fame could never replace the people you love. Even after Don's death in 2017, Barbara worked to preserve his legacy. She remained connected to friends, family members, and the countless fans who continued celebrating his work. Whenever people spoke about Don's accomplishments, Barbara's name was often mentioned alongside his. Their story had become inseparable. When Barbara passed away in 2021, many longtime fans felt as though the final chapter of the Rickles story had closed. Yet in another sense, their story never truly ended. Don's performances continued to be watched by new generations discovering his comedy for the first time. His appearances on television, his legendary celebrity roasts, and his unforgettable interviews remain preserved for audiences around the world. More importantly, the example he and Barbara set continues to resonate. In an industry often defined by temporary relationships and constant change, they demonstrated the power of commitment, resilience, and unconditional support. Today, Don Rickles is remembered as far more than an insult comedian. He is remembered as a trailblazer who changed the art of stand-up comedy, a performer who influenced countless comedians who followed in his footsteps, and a man whose greatest joy came from the people closest to him. What makes Don Rickles' story so remarkable is that his greatest legacy may have had nothing to do with comedy at all. By the time he reached his later years, Rickles had already accomplished nearly everything a performer could dream of. He had starred in films, appeared on countless television programs, performed in front of sold-out audiences, and earned the admiration of some of the biggest names in entertainment. Yet those who knew him best often said that fame was never what mattered most to him. In interviews, Rickles frequently spoke about Barbara with genuine affection. Even after decades of marriage, he still referred to her as the center of his world. While many celebrity relationships faded under the pressure of public life, Don and Barbara seemed to grow closer with each passing year. Friends often recalled how inseparable they were. Whether attending industry events, spending time with family, or simply enjoying quiet evenings at home, they preferred being together. Don could command the attention of thousands from a stage, but according to those closest to him, his favorite audience was always Barbara. That devotion became especially evident during difficult times. The loss of their son, Larry, was a tragedy that neither parent ever fully overcame. While they rarely discussed their grief publicly, those around them could see how deeply the loss affected both of them. Yet rather than allowing the tragedy to define their lives, they continued moving forward together, relying on the strength of their relationship. As Don entered his 80s, many entertainers of his generation had long since retired. Rickles, however, continued doing what he loved. He still enjoyed making people laugh and remained grateful that audiences continued to support him after so many years. There was never any sense that he felt entitled to success. Instead, he seemed genuinely appreciative of every opportunity he received. When Don passed away in 2017, tributes poured in from across the entertainment world. Comedians from multiple generations credited him as a major influence. Actors remembered his kindness behind the scenes. Friends spoke about his loyalty and generosity. While the public remembered the jokes, the people closest to him remembered the man. Barbara carried those memories with her during the final years of her life. Though she faced the immense challenge of losing both her son and her husband, she remained surrounded by family and friends who understood how much she had meant to Don throughout his incredible journey. Looking back today, it is easy to see why the Rickles story continues to resonate with so many people. It is not simply the story of a legendary comedian. It is the story of a man who found lasting love, endured heartbreaking loss, built lifelong friendships, and never lost his appreciation for the people who mattered most. Barbara Rickles spent her final years carrying the memories of a life shared with the man she loved for more than half a century. Sadly, on March 15, 2021, she passed away at the age of 84 due to complications from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In a heartbreaking twist of fate, her death came on the very same date that would have marked her 56th wedding anniversary with Don Rickles. For decades, Don had spoken openly about how much Barbara meant to him. While audiences loved watching him poke fun at her during interviews and performances, those closest to the couple knew the truth. The jokes were never meant to diminish her. In fact, Don frequently reminded people that Barbara was the light of his life. Behind every playful insult was a deep love and admiration for the woman who stood beside him through every triumph and every tragedy. Barbara was often described as patient, warm, and endlessly supportive. She tolerated Don's constant teasing with grace and humor, becoming the perfect partner for a man whose career was built on making people laugh. Together, they weathered the highs of Hollywood success and the devastating lows of personal loss, including the heartbreaking death of their beloved son, Larry. Their story reminds us that even those who bring laughter to millions are not immune to pain. Despite earning the nickname Mr. Warmth and becoming one of the most beloved comedians of all time, Don Rickles experienced profound heartbreak throughout his life. Yet he continued to spread joy to others, leaving behind a legacy that few entertainers will ever match. Today, both Don and Barbara are gone, but the memories they created together continue to inspire fans around the world. Their marriage, their resilience, and their unwavering devotion to one another remain a testament to a love that endured for more than 5 decades. Now we'd love to hear from you. Were you more saddened to learn about Don Rickles' passing, or by the heartbreaking loss that Don and Barbara endured when their son Larry died far too young? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upcoming story. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.